Hi, my name is Kate Connolly, and I am the founder of the Intuitive Heart Revolution. And what I'm here to teach people, and part of my mission is to actually help people learn how to connect to their intuition. Now, for most people, that feels like a really difficult thing to do. And the biggest questions that people ask me are, how do I know that this is actually my intuition? And what do I do about it? Because the connection to our intuition is something that as a society, we seem to have kind of let go of. We're so caught up in the doing. We're so caught up in our busyness that the slowing down to allow our intuition to be our voice is lost. And the only way that we can actually connect to our intuition is through allowing the slowing down of our bodies, our brains, and our breath. And one of the main reasons this is such a big thing is because ultimately we're living in a state where our typical way of being in the world is not a state of intuitive knowing. We're actually always on the go. We very, very rarely stop for a breath and figuratively and literally smell the roses. We get caught up in these states of needing to continually achieve and do and push. And so a lot of us end up in a state of exhaustion. We end up in a state of just being a bit burnt out, and it's not really serving us on any level. When I talk to people about the concept of slowing down to speed up, there is this ability for our bodies and our minds to actually slow down even for 5 minutes a day and connect to our knowing and create that as our intention for the day. Now, our knowing sits kind of deeply in our heart space, and there's many, many ways that you can actually connect to it. And one of the ways that we can kind of connect to it is start to be aware of the different brainwave states. Now, our brainwaves have many different ways of being, and depending on what brainwave state we are in will depend on our thoughts and also our ability to open up to our intuition. So when I'm talking to you about our everyday go, 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 kind of slightly anxious, stressy state, we're in what we call a beta brainwave state. So the brainwaves are quite jagged, they're quite chunky, they're not actually flowing, and they're not actually in a state of resonance or entrainment with the body. We feel a little bit disconnected from ourselves, and we don't actually feel like we're in control. Not that control is the key, but we often feel like we're just kind of catching our tails through the day, and it's not a great way of being. When we allow ourselves to slow down and even just take a few breaths, we allow ourselves to get into what we call an alpha brainwave state, where the waves are higher but they're smoother. And we actually give our body an opportunity to slow down the brain, so slow down those stressy worry thoughts. And we actually open up the space for our intuition to become our dominant voice. So we're moving from a beta state, which is the stressy state, into an alpha state where we can actually have a greater chance of allowing the intuition to come in. Then if you want to take it a step further, if you can get into a beautiful state of meditation or deep breath or deep stillness, we then enter a state called the theta brainwave state. And that's an even deeper state of just peace and relaxation in the body and allowing the intuition to come in and be our dominant voice. And the reason that this is important is because every time that we get in a state of doing and we don't stop, or in a constant state of go, 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 we have this feeling of disconnection. And so if there's something that's not working for us, if our job isn't working for us, our relationship isn't working for us, if we're feeling dissatisfied, we're going to find it very, very difficult to understand that about ourselves if we're not slowing down to pay attention. So the slowing down is to pay attention, it's to take stock, it's to see exactly what it is that we're missing. So giving ourselves that opportunity to just slow the brainwaves down, get ourselves into a state where we can connect to our knowing, we usually get a lot more clarity about what it is that we actually want. And we also get a lot more clarity about what it's going to take to get there. It's such an important thing that I feel like we're missing. And usually this is what we go to other people for. We go to our psychics and our counselors and our psychiatrists and our doctors and our friends and our partners to try and give ourselves an understanding about what it is that we're actually missing and what we want. But actually, we can do it ourselves. You know, we are our own gurus, we are our own knowing. And all we have to do is learn the skills on how to calm, slow, be, and listen. So remember, beta, anxiety, alpha, calm, theta, meditative. So as if you can get into an alpha and a theta state, you will allow your brain to calm and slow. You get into more of a state of being. Your brain doesn't even really matter at that point because your thoughts are not ruling your body, and your heart can open and you can understand and get to know that intuitive voice, the knowing voice that can guide you into a much greater place of being and joy and connection, because we can then really get to understand what it is that we really want and what it's going to take to get there. Thank you for listening. I have a meditation on this as well in my intuitive heart meditation group. Have a wonderful day, and let's all be in Theta.